But I was wrong. Everything changed on the night of November 12th. The air was colder than usual. A suffocating silence wrapped around my house like a blanket of still grief. I had become used to silence. I lived in it, with it, around it. Mother had died 5 years ago, and with her, the noise left to no music, no laughter, no casual humming of her favorite 80s ballads while she stirred soup. I had removed it all. My apartment was neat, sterile, too clean for a man my age. No photos on the wall, just gray and beige and minimal everything. I lived like someone who didn't want to be reminded of joy, of pain, of her mom. She died on a rainy Tuesday night. We'd fought just hours before. I can't even remember what triggered it, but I remember the last words I screamed at her before she walked out. You only show up when it's convenient for you. She said nothing. She simply grabbed her coat, gave me a tired look, and left. She died in a car crash an hour later. Because when you love someone and they die while you're mad at them, you carry that forever. Then came the night of the call. 2:13 a.m. My phone buzzed. I blinked into the dark room, the light of the screen glaring in the blackness. Incoming call. Momi sat upright, heart pounding. It had to be a mistake, a sick prank, a technical glitch. But the ringtone played her ringtone. Moonlight, hands shaking, I answered. Hello, a pause, static. Then, a voice I hadn't heard in 5 years. Hi, baby. I froze. I knew that voice. It didn't sound like a recording or AI. It was warm, casual, familiar, like she'd just stepped out of the kitchen with tea in her hands. Mom, still calling me that even after all these years. You haven't grown up one bit. I couldn't breathe. I wasn't dreaming. The sharp pain of my fingernails digging into my palm proved that. How is this possible? I croaked. That's not important right now, she said gently. I only have a minute, maybe 2. I came to say something you've needed to hear for a long time. I could hear her smile. I felt it. She sounded calm, free. You've been blaming yourself for something that wasn't your fault, I whispered. But I said you were angry. I get it. I was, too. I wiped tears from my eyes, sitting curled on the edge of the bed like a child. You should have known I loved you, even when we disagreed. I always did. And what happened that night? It wasn't about you. There was a long pause. Then she added, but tomorrow, something will come that proves it. What do you mean, what's coming? Static returned. Her voice started fading. Let it go now, live. And when you hear that knock tomorrow, believe it. The line went dead. No call log, no record, nothing. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? I kept waiting for reality to kick back in, but it didn't. The next morning, the doorbell rang. A courier handed me an envelope. No return address, just my name. Inside was a letter. 6 months ago, he'd lived in another state, had a different name, but guilt had eaten him alive, and after years of running, he surrendered. The police dug up the accident records and matched the details. This letter had been written by him from prison. He explained he'd been drunk, lost control, ran a red light. She'd swerved to avoid a child, a little girl, crossing the street. A lone mom died, saving a life. My jaw clenched. My hands trembled. Everything inside me cracked open. For 5 years, I believed I killed her with words. The truth was in black. Ink on white paper, signed by a man who could no longer run from what he'd done. She didn't die angry. She died a hero. I wept like I hadn't since the funeral, and then I found something else in the envelope. Another letter, older, faded, yellowed slightly at the edges. It was from her. To my son, Daniel. If this letter reaches you, it means something. Has happened something unexpected. But if I'm gone, I want you to hear this. You are not the worst thing you've ever said. You are not your last mistake. You are the best. Parts of me, my heart, my stubbornness, my love. And I know you will carry those parts forward. Forgive yourself, baby. Let go of the guilt, and know, no matter where I am, I will always find my way back to you. I read it 3 times, then again and again. It was dated 2 weeks before she died. It was like she knew, or maybe she just knew me well enough to prepare me, even in absence. I started living again after that day. I put her photo back on the wall. I played her favorite music in the mornings. I called my sister. We hadn't spoken in 3 years, and I changed. My voicemail. Hi, this is Daniel. I'm not avoiding calls anymore. If you need me, I'll answer. Because one night, someone who wasn't supposed to call did, and they told me everything I needed to hear. Sometimes the dead don't stay silent. Sometimes they come back, not to haunt us, but to heal us. And when they do, you answer, even if it's 2:13 a.m.